This is Fair Enough, a spin-off side series of Fairpoint Podcast. I'm Nathan Kappesser. If you're not familiar with the main podcast, go check it out. We cover a wide variety of subjects, and it's really funny. However, from here on, we'll be using this new podcast series to try out some podcast ideas with our friends that don't totally fit within the Fairpoint range. And don't worry, this audio cleans up in the main discussion. Today, me and my fellow podcast pioneer, Craig Lewis, sat down to discuss the new movie with the biggest opening weekend of all time. That's right, Tomorrowland. No, I don't think anybody actually went to see that movie. I'm speaking, of course, about Jurassic World. If you've been listening to Fairpoint for a while, you know that I've been a hardcore Jurassic Park fanboy my whole life, and there's been a lot of anticipation and even trepidation building up for me around the premiere of this film. So if you're interested, stick around and find out what we thought. You'll also hear about some cool Easter eggs you might have missed, and we managed to squeeze in some discussion about the previous films, the novels, and comic books as well. Needless to say, this is not a spoiler-free podcast. Do not listen if you haven't seen the movie, unless you really don't care about knowing what happens and maybe being a little lost. Again, this isn't like a rigid, structured episode of like Fairpoint is. Like Fairpoint's ever been rigid, all that rigid and structured anyway. But just a general free-form discussion talking about the movie. So we hope you enjoy. I'll catch you back here again at the end. Welcome to a Jurassic World podcast. All right, so Jurassic World.
It was a world full of dinosaurs, all right. Squirrely fangirl enjoyment on my end.
Cool. That was going to be my first question, was what did you think? So you enjoyed it?
I thoroughly enjoyed the film for what it was. I've seen some reviews here and there of the movie, and I've heard a lot of people critiquing it pretty harshly. And I'm going to go with what James Rolfe said and said, if you go into this movie not expecting it to be the best movie that's ever been made, you're going to have a lot of fun watching it. That's exactly what I did. I was like, you know what? I don't care about the story. I don't care about the hokiness. I just want to enjoy myself and have a good time. It wasn't done bad either. It was a good effort. It was the story was a little lacking at points. Some of the subplots were unnecessary or shoehorned in, it felt like. But the dinosaurs were great. The feels were there for me. There was an amazing relationship between Chris Pratt and the Raptors. Okay. That was probably, in my eyes, the best relationship of the movie.
Well, I guess we'll explore a lot of these specific points in depth as we go on. We'll look at the characters, we'll look at the plot, we'll look at the dinosaurs, the CG, the whatever. But yeah, I was interested to hear your initial impressions. So me, it's kind of hard for me to really give you my full opinion right now. I'm honestly having a very similar experience as I had with Clerks 2. Because there was so much. Okay. My three favorite movies are Jurassic Park, Clerks, and Harold and Maude. Right. And when Clerks 2 was coming out, so much anticipation built up around that for me that when I left the movie, my friends were like, so? And I'm like, so? And they're like, so what'd you think? And I'm like,
I can't answer.
I don't
you
know.
now.
And they're like, what do you mean you don't know? After all this excitement, nonstop talking about it, and then we go see it. You drag us there to go see it early in the day so we see it as early as possible, and you don't know? I'm like, no, I have to see it a few more times. Give it some time to sink in. When I left the theater for Jurassic World, I was a little disappointed, to be totally honest.
Yeah, you told me, and I was like kind of disappointed that I heard that I saw that text from you.
I think a lot of that was just... the anticipation was too much. I didn't know what to expect, and I just, it was like, I don't know, because the whole movie, I'm watching it with a lens of like, okay, this is the Jurassic Park movie you've waited 13 years for,
Don't be real about it. You've waited longer than 13 years for this movie.
Right. Can we just write Jurassic Park 3 out of existence?
Yeah. I mean, you could even write Jurassic Park 2 out of existence.
No, I'm good with it. Actually, this is one thing that I'm wondering. First of all...
I don't think Jurassic Park 2 could have happened in this universe.
Oh, no, it did.
Really?
Yeah, everything's still canon.
Because I thought it basically cut out the second and third movie.
It just ignored them, but it didn't contradict
because
them.
All I'm getting at is there's no way that they would have been allowed to open this place having a T-Rex rampage through San Diego.
That still happened. Because also on the website, JurassicWorld.com, there's been a whole viral marketing campaign that treats it like Jurassic World is a real place. If you've never visited the website, you should. It's really cool. There's a blurb in there about Vinny D'Onofrio's character and how he landed his job because he cleaned up the mess from, at the end of Jurassic Park 3, the pteranodons that were seen flying away from the island. They flew all the way to Toronto and ended up terrorizing like some domestic area. And he and his people, his security team or whatever, cleaned up the mess, took care of things, and that's how he got his job at Jurassic World.
Boy, they didn't last very long at Jurassic World now, did they?
So Jurassic Park 3 and 2 still definitely happened. Now, my thing is, ask me in a year what I think, and I'll have a better answer for you. Right now, I'm wondering, was this a better sequel than The Lost World? Because I'm one of the few that I think The Lost World was a great fucking sequel. And
I disliked it a lot.
Yeah.
I did not like it.
None of the sequels live up to the first, in my opinion, and I'm okay with that.
I just don't like it as a movie. Like once the T-Rex broke out of that pen, and I'm like, how did it fucking eat all the people and then go back into the pen?
Because there was a cut. It was cut from the fucking movie that there were raptors on the ship as well. There were supposed to be raptors on that ship. I guarantee it.
Okay, it wasn't just a T-Rex, so what happened to the raptors?
Because that makes no sense. They got cut from the movie, and then the Hollywood studio or Steven Spielberg or whoever was just banking on the general public not to think too hard about it.
Yeah, well, I did not think too hard about it, but it left me scratching my head.
Yeah, because it is stupid. The way the movie set up,
made it seem like it was like a King Kong thing where they just brought the one dinosaur back.
But like, how did that T-Rex kill the crew of the boat if it hadn't broken out and everything? Right. It was clearly raptors.
Clearly, anybody with half a brain could have figured that one out.
But I don't have a problem with the T-Rex in San Diego scene. I think that's one of the best scenes of the franchise. The best scene of the franchise is the T-Rex attack. I'm going to disagree with you. The T-Rex attack on the cars. Do we agree on that?
In the first one?
Yes.
Yes.
Best scene in the franchise. A phenomenal scene. Every time I watch it, I don't see special effects, even after all these years. I don't see CG. I don't see animatronics. I see Dr. Grant interacting with a real live animal on screen.
You might put in your top 5 at some point the final scene from this movie.
Oh my god!
In the final fight scene, fight scene.
So
was that at least not something you had been waiting for?
That was the best part of the movie, and it was hokey.
Hands down,
it was hokey. It was kind of like no sequel will ever live up to the atmosphere, the story, the iconicness of Jurassic Park. The movie, the novel, the story itself, the mythology, whatever. Jurassic Park cannot be followed up with a sequel without it being kind of cartoony and just an excuse to go back to the well. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm okay with that. I hope they keep going back to the well. And I'd prefer it to be good rather than shitty, like comparing The Lost World to Jurassic Park 3. But that scene is a little cartoony and a little like over the top, but it was awesome. It was phenomenal. It was great. It was greatly executed. It was really cool to see the T-Rex from the first movie, mind you. What was your favorite part of the movie? Your favorite
Of
individual?
Jurassic World?
Any whatever, whether that's a character, whether that's a scene, whether that's a sequence. What is the music? Whatever.
Okay,
What's your favorite
the
part of the movie?
absolute hands down show stealer is Chris Pratt.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
he was great.
I disagree.
You disagree?
I think Chris Pratt.
He was the fucking man.
I love Chris Pratt. I absolutely love Chris Pratt. I don't think he needed to be cast in this movie. I like that he wasn't just a goofing around character, but I think his character was the most lacking and didn't really do anything that special in my eyes, in my opinion.
No, I thought it was great. Just because he was already the man. And he was the man, and he had a level head on him.
But that was kind of it. Like, the character came off to me as the man. He's the man.
Yeah, because he fucking is the man, and I love the man.
Bryce Dallas Howard was the woman who's not doing things right and all this. And, like, I feel like a few very simple tweaks would have fixed it a lot. Like, it's okay with having a male character that's the fucking man. That's really fucking good at everything and is right. I mean, Batman is a great fucking character, and he's a male character. And that's okay. But this felt really, and I reconcile it. It's okay because characters don't have to be role models, and characters don't have to live up to some standards or whatever. And it's also iconic, or rather, it's reminiscent of pulp heroes to me. Like her in her high heels and everything, and him with his man attitude and all this.
Yeah.
But I feel, okay, when in the scene when, like, Claire, Bryce Dallas Howard's character, was telling Lowry, the guy in the control room, to clean up his desk. And he's like, no, I think it's the right amount of chaos that will keep it from collapsing into disorder or whatever.
And she moves the trash can.
Slides the trash can over and predicts the fact that he's about to knock something out of his workspace and the drink will fall. And that should have been foreshadowing to, like, yes, that character has her faults, as characters should.
And it didn't really.
But when push comes to shove, she knows how to handle shit. She knows how to contain the chaos, do what needs to be done, and wrap shit up. And if they focused more on that instead of just her overcoming her rigid spreadsheet, whatever, like that, I think would have been a lot stronger.
What was lacking for Bryce Dallas Howard in that movie was, for God's sake, man, no woman, man, person, anything can outrun a T-Rex in high heels. Like, it would have, like, all it needed.
Everybody complains about the high heels.
Listen,
I'm okay with the high heels.
Really, all it needed was just like that one moment where she's like, fuck these high heels, fuck that different me. And then it just would have been a whole switch, because now, like, damn, she's the fucking man.
They're sort of emblematic of, okay, do you remember hearing about when the scene came out with her and Chris Pratt interacting by his bungalow?
They got to do two things. You got to do one of those.
They came under fire. Joss Whedon was like, wow, what is this, the 70s? Like, this is
Joss Whedon took that back, though.
Yeah, I know.
Eventually.
Well, he was like, look, that was kind of dumb of me and childish of me to say. But Joss Whedon was right. Like, I think. Now, they responded to this by saying, no, having a strong female character doesn't mean having a female character that does masculine things or does things that men would normally do. Having a strong female character can also mean a female character that embraces her femininity, or I'm paraphrasing and maybe even adding some of my own things.
Well,
in
I
here,
would have defended it differently,
but I'm saying I agree with that. I'm like, yes, you're totally right. That's totally true. Like, a female character doesn't have to be masculine to be respected. She could also be strong through her feminine aspects, but that doesn't fit what I actually saw in the finished product.
Exactly.
I would have defended it with, fair enough, but every character doesn't have to be like, characters are sometimes characters, and female characters sometimes can be characters that are not the best character in a movie, and male characters sometimes can be. And I understand the importance that, now isn't the best time to be doing those movies, because we should be trying to encourage a change in the culture because it's too prevalent.
But can you not tell me that two characters that were like that and describe the way they were, that sort of thing, that sort of joke play between the two about the, you got to do one of those things, right? Like, would not have happened between maybe two people that have gone on a date and was established that they had dated.
Exactly. But the thing is, somebody wrote it, and they wrote it maybe with this subconscious, it's a subconscious cultural thing that, like,
It is. That's true.
You know.
And maybe they did write it with that, but that's not the way I took it when
And I don't condemn it for that. I let it have a pass, but at the same time, when I'm critiquing the movie, I'm not going to not mention it. You know what I mean? Because it was something that I did notice. And I think there was no reason for Chris Pratt to be cast, in my opinion. And this is not a knock on Chris Pratt. I fucking love Chris Pratt. I think it's super cool. If anybody's going to have 3 franchises and 3 Lego figures, I'm super happy it's
Let me
Chris
go
Pratt.
one further for you. Can make it 4 Lego figures, because after seeing him in this movie, I now have just like tipped my hat. I want this to happen. No more just rumors. Indiana Jones. He can take the mantle, and he basically is, I would even go as far as to say, he's this generation's Harrison Ford. That everyman that fell into a role, and now he's the fucking man.
I also think it's cool that his character wasn't just Chris Pratt. Like, a lot of us thought it was just going to be Star-Lord. What's his name?
Right.
Peter Quill. And it wasn't at all. It was this very serious Marine. And he wasn't totally two-dimensional. He was also an animal lover. And, like, so he wasn't just like, oh,
he had a respect. He had a respect for the Raptors. And that's one thing I wanted to say, was that was one of my favorite relationships. Well, that was probably the best relationship in the movie, was between Chris Pratt and the Raptors. God, I loved those Raptors.
They were great. They really did not need to force the relationship between Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard. I think
they could have just left it with the Raptors, right?
How pointless was it? They kissed and nobody gave a shit. They never felt, and there was no chemistry. Chemistry. There was chemistry in a Dante Randall odd couple type way, but not in a, oh, I want to see them hook up way. Like, I'd rather see Ian Malcolm get Ellie Sattler than I would see them hook up. Yes, and I don't want Ian Malcolm to get Ellie Sattler, but that would be more dynamic and entertaining to me than these 2 characters, which I don't. It seemed forced. How
about there's, speaking of forced, there's one other subplot that really, the divorce conversation that was just randomly inserted in there, and it was never brought up again. But it seemed like at the end, the parents were like just happy their kids are alive. Now we can stay together. We had to cancel the divorce attorney appointments.
I so want to like keep this structured. But
I know,
like,
but we can't because we're leading to
about,
it.
I'm like, oh, but I want to respond to that about the kids now and this.
We're just going to be all over the place.
About the Raptors and I did ask you what your favorite part was. That's where all this came from. Do you want to know what my favorite part was?
Because I said Chris Pratt.
Yes.
If I had to choose a scene, I would say the one where the...
You said your favorite part was Chris Pratt. That's legit. That's what I said. It didn't have to be
I do
a
have
scene.
a favorite scene, too.
Okay.
But yeah.
Well, I will just say that saying Chris Pratt is fair. I want to know what your favorite part was, whether it was the casting, the music, the scene, whatever. But go ahead with your favorite scene, too, while we're on it.
My favorite scene was the one where they found out that like the Raptors were just communicating with Indominus Rex.
That was
and
cool.
Then turned on the people. And all I have to say to that is, fucking told you so.
My favorite part.
I don't try to say I fucking told you so, but I fucking told you so.
Now, my favorite scene or sequence was the fight at the end. The last 15 minutes or whatever. The big epic T-Rex, Megalodon. I'm sorry, Mosasaur. The Raptor, Blue, and the Indominus Rex. That was great. But my favorite part of the movie was as the T-Rex was charging forward to attack the Indominus Rex.
Oh, I know.
You caught it?
Yeah.
He crashed through the spine. She crashed through the Spinosaurus skeleton, which now they released pictures of there being a Spinosaurus skeleton in Jurassic World like a year ago.
Yeah.
And we were all like, I wonder, does that mean anything? Is the Spinosaurus going to be in Jurassic World or no? Most people were just like, no, it's probably just there. Turns out it did mean something symbolically, like that Spinosaurus skeleton was there for the T-Rex to crash through on its way to fight the Indominus Rex as a subtle fuck you, a symbolic fuck you, middle finger to the Spinosaurus in Jurassic Park 3, yes. Because the Spinosaurus, of course, if you don't remember, beat the T-Rex in like 10 seconds flat. Just bitched it in this way. The filmmakers being like, oh, look at this big, bad, new bad guy. And they handled it so well. They appeased Universal by being like, well, look, clearly the Indominus Rex could have beat the T-Rex. You got what you wanted, your bigger, better dinosaur. But they also appeased us by being like, the T-Rex didn't go out like no bitch. And
right.
And it was so good. But that part, when the T-Rex smashed through the Spinosaurus skeleton, I fucking clapped. And I hope somebody else in that theater got what I was clapping for, not just like, woo, there's a big dinosaur T-Rex.
Woo, crashing through skeletons. Yeah, destruction.
But where do we want to go from here? Do we want to start hitting things by bullet point, or do we want to keep freeforming? Or So your favorite character, no doubt, was Owen, right?
Yeah.
Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
My favorite character was Masrani, the guy who owned the park.
The owner? See, I mean, he was all right, but...
He was all right.
Yeah.
I thought Irfan Khan was the actor. I thought he had the best performance out of the film. I thought he was the most layered character. He was kind of this naive but intelligent businessman who had this sort of carefree, friendly, happy attitude, but was also a serious business guy. And like he was layered. Like I can't describe his personality
Who just
in
went out.
one breath to you, which I feel like I can do.
Off.
But when he died, it was just like a footnote of a death. Like it felt like, oh, but now he's dead. And it sucked because I was really looking forward to hopefully seeing him in sequels and stuff. And then he just died. And granted, he had to die for the story to progress. It was a very important part of the story that he die so that Vinny D'Onofrio's character could
take over
pretty much.
But the way he went down was just terrible.
I wish we got more out of him.
It was kind of weird just seeing like his reactions in the cockpit as he was like going down. He was just like looking like back and forth, like like it didn't seem like, I don't know, it didn't seem that convincing of a death scene to me.
Fair enough. He seemed to have this spiritual side to him too, though. Maybe it was this kind of like, all right, I'm not in control. He never freaked out because he has this spiritual, like, the secret to a happy life is understanding you're never in control. My other favorite character, of course, was Lowry, the guy in the control room. What's his name?
The guy
Jake
from
Johnson.
The New Girl or whatever.
Yeah, I never watched New Girl.
I haven't either, but I knew he was from there.
Have you seen Safety Not Guaranteed?
Yes.
He's in that movie,
Yeah, that's
too.
right.
That's him. I hated him in that movie. I did not like that character, but that made me appreciate him as an actor more because I didn't realize that was him until after the fact. And Safety Not Guaranteed, of course, was Colin Trevorrow's first movie. Jurassic World's his second movie. Yeah, that
had Pete from The League, and then April from Parks and Rec, too, and then Jake Johnson.
And but this character was clearly the Jurassic Park fanboy. The movie.
He had said he got the Jurassic Park T-shirt like on eBay for an ungodly sum.
So good.
But like I was kind of annoyed when she was like, "That's in poor taste." I'm like, "Don't you think kind of opening this park is also in poor taste?"
Oh, that was so good. I thought it was great universe building there. And
but yeah, that was good to like show that like this is a thing.
The fact that his character never left the control room, but had such a big role, and he had all the funny lines. Not Chris Pratt, like a lot of people would have expected. He was triumphant. He was heroic. He stayed and he helped keep things together. And the part with Orange is the New Black girl, the girl cop
when he
from
kissed her,
when he went to give her a kiss, and she's like, "Ooh, no."
I have a boyfriend.
Funniest part of the movie. Great.
That was hilarious.
So great. And he's like, "Oh, well, you never bring it up." Well, I'm at work. Like, so perfect, so real. I loved it. She was great in this movie too. I absolutely loved it. I would watch an entire movie that was just like a slacker comedy about them two working in the control room.
Just working in the office all day.
Dinosaur Havoc never gets wreaked. It's just about them.
Yeah, it's just
Jurassic
like
Clerks.
Yeah. Well, maybe that could be one of the sequels that's inevitably going to get made.
Oh, I want to do it. Can we do it? Okay, Jurassic Clerks, Dante and Randall. We're crossover universes. Turns out they take place in the same universe. Dante and Randall get a job at the gift shop.
That's
at
awesome.
Jurassic World. Jay and Silent Bob show up to tour the park, and they like try to sneak in and get a dinosaur high or something, and they're responsible for the dino carnage. Like they accidentally let.
I thought no carnage.
Okay, fine, no carnage. I changed it now. Now it's about Dante and Randall.
It's a movie about Dante and Randall. It's no longer about the two original characters.
The kids. What did you think of the kids?
Okay, I know a lot of people thought that they were just bored with all the kids' scenes, and I am not one of those people. I think these two kids were arguably the best children in the entire franchise.
Oh, those is fighting words, man.
I love
me some
the
Kelly.
little
I
girl.
love me some Tim and Lex.
Is Kelly the girl from the second one?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, fuck that. She was annoying as shit to me. I did
fuck
not like
you.
that kid.
She was cool.
I also didn't like Tim
You're
and
just
Lex.
butthurt because of the gymnastics scene.
Exactly. No, but still, just so many Kit Kats. How did she even get on that? She wasn't supposed to be there today.
At first viewing, I really didn't like the kids. Second viewing, I didn't like them, but they didn't bother me as much because I knew what to expect. So there wasn't that weird, I've had so much anticipation and don't know what to expect. But it wasn't pointed out to me until after my second viewing, and I watched it a third time. and I get it now. Gray, the younger child, has autism or Asperger's or something. Totally.
Oh, really?
And I
could see it, I guess.
Why are you, when their mom was crying, when she's like, this is supposed to be a family weekend. And I'm like, calm down.
See, I thought it was just because
be okay.
the parents were going to meet with their divorce lawyers while the kids were gone.
And she was under so much stress.
Yeah.
But like, she's like, but Zach can be so mean to him. Like, it makes so much more sense now because Zach's a teenager and he's clearly a dick and he doesn't give a fuck.
Right.
And
he did change throughout the movie. Some people say that he did not change, but he did. He's now loves his brother.
But like, yeah, he always loved his brother.
No, but I mean, he
he
grew into him,
and to accept that and acknowledge
like
that
a family's
he
love. It proved that beats trying to be cool
and
or get laid.
But like, if you pay attention, Gray, like right at the beginning, I was like a viewfinder, really a kid's looking through a viewfinder,
of dinosaurs,
not playing Xbox, and he's late to the car because he's looking through a view. Makes sense if you consider that maybe, you know what I mean? He has Asperger's or autism or something. And and he's like, the airport is 37.8 minutes away.
It's very smart.
42 in traffic or
very
whatever.
Precise.
All about numbers. He's like, they have 15 carnivores and 13 herbivores when they started out. I totally butchered those numbers. They had like 4 carnivores, whatever it was. And
but that's amazing though.
The amounts of teeth and all this. Like,
if that is true, what you're saying, like, if they come out and say, yeah, that's totally true. Like, that's awesome that like they didn't make it a thing. They didn't point out in the movie, he has Asperger's.
I love that because it's like, oh, that's so cool because no, he's just a character. And that makes up for your poor like gender rolling. Like, you know what I mean? Like, word, you made an autistic character and didn't make it a thing. Never once referenced it. Like, that's cool.
Just made him just one of the guys.
Yep,
just one of the kids there. But my defense for the kids' scenes is that if they weren't included in it, there would be no aspect or point of view from one of the park guests.
And I'm okay with having kids. Sometimes people complain like, oh, you got to have kids in the movie, right? And I get that because when you read The Lost World, which I reread both the books by Michael Crichton in preparation and all the comics.
I mean, I might have reread the first one, but you're a sick man.
You've never read the second one?
I never read the second one.
It's
no,
so
I
bad.
didn't bother.
It's so fucking bad.
I think he made it bad on purpose.
I think he didn't know how to write a sequel. I don't know. It's really
bad.
Well,
considering how he wrapped up the whole series in the one book.
That felt like he forced children into the plot. And in the movie, I think they handled it much better. Now, I will say my 2 least favorite parts of the movie did have to do with the kids, though. Number 1.
Jimmy Fallon?
No, not Jimmy Fallon.
Oh, fuck that dude. Jimmy Buffett.
I'm not a fan of Jimmy Fallon. And I was like, ugh. And once it was explained to me later, I understand now. Did you know that if you go to Universal Studios, Jimmy Fallon does all the little videos like that on the rides and stuff?
He does all of them now?
I don't know if he does all of them, but he does a bunch of them. He's kind of like the tour guide at Universal Studios.
I know he doesn't do it for the Simpsons one.
Yeah, but
he didn't do it for the Back to the Future. Like, it would just
I'm just saying, supposedly it's a reference to that.
Fair enough.
That makes it make sense.
But still, fuck that.
I like that he referenced the Dilophosaur. We got 2 Dilophosaur references, which is better than none.
Better than none.
I understand how cramming a Dilophosaur scene in there would have been distracting. And
how about the product placement with Margaritaville and Jimmy Buffett down in some margs?
See, product placement was worked into the storyline and the themes of the movie, so I'm kind of okay with it. But there were some points when it was like, gag me with a spoon. The first of my least favorite parts that involved the kids. You saw the fucking mosasaur jump up, bite the shark, splash them. They see it, and that's where Zach finally gets one over, and he's like, "That was awesome." Yeah. And he goes, "Hey, you want to go?" He's like, "Hey, you want to see something else awesome?"
And then the Mercedes-Benz.
Cut to the fucking perfectly framed Mercedes-Benz. I was like, sorry, I just threw up in my mouth a little bit. Because did you know the Mercedes-Benz, the new Mercedes, was made to be debuted in this movie?
Oh, no, I didn't.
Because they debuted the new Ford Explorer in the 93 movie.
It's like, you know how subtle that was? That was as subtle as the Community episode with a Honda.
Oh my God. I was just like, Jesus. And the way they focused on that Benz was too much. And that, you want to see something else awesome? Like, because even if they had the character deliver the line differently, like, that was pretty cool. You want to go see something else that's cool? Like, because that's what I feel like he meant. Like, okay, I'm in now. Let's go find
Yeah.
something else awesome. But the way he delivered it was like, want to see something else awesome? Check out my dick. Like, or I don't know what he was getting.
No?
It sounded like he was about to show him something because that's what.
Want to see something else that's awesome? Here's this
Bam,
joint.
Mercedes-Benz.
Bastards,
What do
it's
you-
time for you to grow up.
What are you, one of Jack Horner's Chickensaurus Rexes?
Man, I tell you what, if you just take a hit here, mom and dad will stay together. Or at least you won't care.
Jesus.
Wow.
I thought it was cool seeing the old visitor center, the when dinosaurs
Yes,
ruled the earth
I enjoyed
banner.
that. And then they used that as the torch.
The bone
dinosaurs
from
ruled
one of the
earth banner.
skeletons and the banner. Yeah, that was cool. And you see the matte painting from the wall that you saw in the dining room when
Yep.
Hammond and Ellie were
Yep,
chilling. That was cool. We didn't get much out of the restricted area like we the fan base kind of thought we would get, but I feel like on second and third viewing, I can see more how what we didn't get because it makes it a concise story of a movie. And whatever my complaints could be and maybe will be about this movie, it's a million times better than what we could have and a lot of us suspected we would get out of Jurassic Park 4. With all these canned scripts that you can look up on the internet that were just awful and shit, and like raptors in armor being sent to Pakistan and shit. Like,
Yeah, thank God you just left that for the chaos effect.
and they took the idea of a hybrid dinosaur, which is kind of corny in a direction I don't want the series to take, and they took the idea of militarization of the raptors, which is kind of corny in a direction I don't want the series to take, and they did them with restraint. They did them in a way
Right.
that it didn't not feel like Jurassic Park. And I feel like I really hope the sequels don't try to further those storylines, the genetic hybrids or the militarization, because then I feel like it'll get out of hand and it won't feel like Jurassic Park anymore. I feel like this movie, that was the themes of this movie. There's no reason to repeat it. It did it perfect, or at least as good as I could expect or ask for.
I agree.
Word.
I already said I thoroughly enjoyed the movie, but the movie was missing one thing. It was sorely lacking when we got to the Pteranodon scene where they're attacking everybody. Mm-hmm. It would have been complete if when they first came flying in, you just hear "Yours world,
Yeah, wow, you got to try that
yours
again.
world, he's the man."
Oh.
And then Yor comes flying in,
Yours World.
the hunter from the future.
What about D'Onofrio?
It was almost like cartoon. He started to get like cartoony villainish.
Yeah.
Towards the end, but I do like him.
The actor did it great,
The actor did a good job, and he was kind of subtle and dickish in the beginning. You know, as he did grow to be pretty insane by the end. But insane enough to like look at a raptor trying to eat it and be like, "Yeah, I can do what Chris Pratt does. This thing respects me." Yeah.
Whoa,
bullshit.
I'm on your side, buddy.
Speaking of, okay, did you think they did a subtle enough job or a delicate enough job with the relationship with the, you know how like, you know, everybody saw Chris Pratt riding with the Raptors and like, what? Like,
Oh, yeah, that was
Like-
handled well.
because it made sense. They made it make sense.
Everybody talks shit about like, oh, he's training the raptors. And it's like, no, raptors are supposed to be more intelligent than dolphins or chimpanzees. It would make sense that in the sequels going forward, you would try to show a human interacting and trying to form a relationship with them. They
Right.
did that in the comics too, and I was okay with it.
It's crazy with a carnivore that's so dangerous.
Yeah,
And like,
that
but
was
they
done
used
really
the right
well.
restraint. Like Chris Pratt was like, you know, no, you have to. I'm their alpha.
And he was still scared shitless.
But yeah,
Like-
yeah. But you can't show it. You know, you got to show that you're the man.
So how about Omar Sy, though, as Chris Pratt's buddy there, the French guy?
He was a good side character. I wish we knew more about him, though. I wish he was a little more of a main character.
Right.
To be honest, he was better played off than the assistant that just got executed, like
Zara.
ripped apart. Yeah.
I'm sure he'll show up for a sequel or something. The thing is, though, from what Colin Trevorrow has said about what the sequel will probably end up being about, now he said he doesn't want to direct it, but he does want to be involved. But he thinks Jurassic Park should have different directors come in and bring their own vision and their own style and taste to the sequels.
He doesn't want to monopolize it.
Yeah, and it's most likely going to be, he said, he changed the name to Jurassic World because this is about the world, the effect on the world this is having. And eventually, It's not just going to be people running from dinosaurs on an island. They have to take it past that. And it's going to be about our relationship with prehistoric creatures in this new world. And he said eventually it won't just be in-gen. Sooner or later, technology goes open source, and sooner or later, other people would be making dinosaurs. And that the next one will probably be about a tech race of some sort. And I don't see any place for Chris Pratt's character in this.
No.
But they'll work it out because he's on contract. They're gonna bring him back.
I mean, Henry Wu, he made that comment,
Great.
like, still, we still down with the agreement that we made.
That was the way they left it open, and he left on the helicopter with the briefcase.
So maybe he has all that work that could be selling to the highest bidders once it goes open market.
And they could totally go with that without having it have to be about militarization. Like, Henry Wu probably wasn't dedicated to militarization.
Right.
He just struck a deal with D'Onofrio. Yeah, totally. And man, they could definitely go forward with that. Now that said,
which you're smart enough to be a scientist that works on making dinosaurs, and you are being paid most likely handsomely already for one of the greatest theme parks around. Like, how greedy are you? Do you really need more of that money? I doubt you're making less than millions a year.
He brought more character to Wu, film universe Wu. As you know, he had a bigger role in the book.
He got kind of villainous.
And yeah, it's cool though.
That's weird because it shows that maybe he's not a villain, but he's not just a cardboard cutout good guy.
Right? I liked it. I definitely hope to see him back, and I could totally see his character having a place in that type of sequel.
I want to talk about the final fight scene a little bit more.
Yeah.
You said it was one of your favorite pieces of the movie?
It was my favorite.
Or it was your favorite scene in the movie? It was an amazing scene. And did you call, because probably once the minute I saw any water, I was like, oh, that's going to end it. It's going to get the Anonymous Rex. And I still was like, Deus Ex save.
It was cool.
It was kind of a Deus Ex Machina moment, but
and a little silly.
It worked. It worked, and I was like, yeah! See, they had that in the movie earlier, and, maybe you just thought that you forgot about this dinosaur, but no, it wins.
So those are the big baddies of the Jurassic Park world. There's the Rex, the T-Rex, the Raptors, the Mosasaur, the Spinosaur, and the Indominus Rex. I would say those are the 5 that have had the privilege of being a major threat. And will there be a 6th in the next movie?
They're going to somehow hybrid Dilophosaur.
I hope they don't keep going with hybrids. And see, I love Dilophosaurs are my favorite, but they don't. Obviously, they've had one scene. They killed the bad guy in
they killed
the first
Nedry.
Movie. Yeah, they killed the fat dude
killed
in
Newman.
the first movie. But
Newman.
And see, I really, really wanted to see a Dilophosaur scene in this movie, and there was a Lego set called Dilophosaur Ambush, and every other Lego set was based on a specific scene in the movie. So we were like, there's got to be one. In the marketing, there was so much Dilophosaurs. The only scene we got was at the end when the raptor was chasing him and he hit the button for the hologram. When the kid hit the button for the hologram, and the Dilophosaur came up, and the raptor was like, what the fuck? And that was dope. And you know what else is from a hardcore fanboy's perspective? What that did was settled an age-old debate among the Jurassic Park community. Okay. Do you know anything about real Dilophosaurs?
I know that they don't have the fans.
They don't have the frill. They probably didn't spit. I guess there's no way for us to prove it, but that's just pure science fiction. It's not based on any type of actual conjecture or theory. So they didn't spit. They didn't have the frill, and they were 10 feet tall. They were really big.
They're a lot bigger than they were portrayed.
Now, in the movie in Jurassic Park, we just kind of assumed, well, they changed the Dilophosaur. They gave it a frill. They made it spit. Clearly, they made it smaller, too, because the raptors were already tall. The T-Rex was already really big, and it made sense to have a smaller one. And that was the consensus for a while. Yeah. And then people started wondering, maybe it was supposed to be a juvenile Dilophosaur, a young Dilophosaur. Nedry says, when he sees it, he's like, oh, I thought you were one of your big brothers. You're not so bad. And we always just kind of assumed that meant, one of your big brothers.
One of the other bigger dinosaurs.
Like a raptor or a T-Rex. No, you're just one of those little shits, a Dilophosaur. But maybe he actually meant, I thought you were one of your big brothers, a full-grown Dilophosaur. You're just a baby Dilophosaur.
Oh, okay.
I'm not scared of a baby dinosaur. And that makes sense, right? So it's been a debate, and we've never had any other scenes with them. So there was, in the comic, they showed a full 10-foot one. But if you look at the size of the Dilophosaur in this scene, it's about as big as the raptor. which means that the one in the fucking first movie in canon must have been a juvenile, must have been a baby. Dilophosaurs are bigger in canon.
Okay. Or they're just,
Bam.
Bam. You just
fanboyed out on you. I loved, there was a bunch of Easter eggs I caught. Do you remember, we might have even talked about this on the podcast, the Stegoceratops toy?
Yeah.
When we talked about the toy
Chaos
fair.
Effect, right?
No.
Oh, no.
It was new. It was a Toys R Us exclusive for Jurassic World, and people were debating,
Toy fair news.
Is this thing going to be in the movie? And I was like, no, it's just a toy. It's just a special edition toy because there's a hybrid in the movie.
Well, it was in the movie.
There was a cameo. Did you caught it?
I did.
Really? On the computer screen?
That was on the computer screen.
Yeah, you saw it?
Yeah.
That's nuts.
When he asked what he's like, that's not a real dinosaur.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, we're working on something,
well,
that was that, right?
He said that when they showed Indominus Rex, but it was literally right before that point.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's right there. Fucking dope. Like, I love catching little Easter eggs. Ian Malcolm's book was also in the movie. God Creates Dinosaurs. You see it twice. What else happened in that? What other Easter eggs were there?
So we've ascertained that Ian Malcolm is in fact religious.
No, it's from that God Creates Dinosaurs.
Right.
God Destroys Dinosaurs.
Yeah.
God Creates Man.
God creates man creates dinosaurs.
Man creates podcasts about Jurassic Park.
Dinosaurs eat podcasters who talk about Jurassic World.
So you brought up that you really liked the Raptors. The Raptor Squad, as they're known.
Yeah.
Blue, Charlie, Delta, and Echo.
Mm-hmm.
Blue was really cool that they made Blue a character near the end. It sucks that the rest of them all died.
It does kind of suck. One got blown up.
Here's something that really bothers me is that one of the raptors is supposed to have different eyes. Like, you know how they have cat eyes?
Yeah.
One of them has iguana type, gecko type eyes with just a round circle pupil. And it's either Charlie or Delta because it's not Blue. Because Blue is the one that has the blue stripe and all that. And it's not Echo because Echo's more orangish and red. It's one of the two green ones. But every time you see either of them close up, they have the slit eyes, the cat type eyes. And it's impossible to determine which it's supposed to be. There's a poster that says it's Charlie that shows all their heads close up, and it says Charlie under the one. But if you look at the back of the Lego boxes, they have a personality description and a history for each of the Raptors. Talks about where Echo got her scar, all that. And under Delta, it says Delta is the one with different eyes. So, but clearly when you see Omar Sy interacting with Delta, it's the one with slit eyes. But when Chris Pratt's like, Charlie, this one's for you, and throws it, you see the one with slit eyes. So it's like, damn it.
Which one is it?
Now, do you see, Blue is so cool. Blue will forever be a character in my eyes, but I'm not sure.
Blue... absolutely. And it was cool at the end when he just looks over, he's like, what's up?
T-Rex, they had their nod.
He's just like, yeah, that's
One
right.
blood.
Let's walk away. Best know what's best for you.
No, it was a nod of respect. It was like,
no, yeah, it was like,
cool?
We good?
Cool.
We got rid of our enemy? All right. I'm going to go make out with Chris Pratt.
But I don't know if Blue needs to show up in a sequel. We'll see. I guess if Chris Pratt's going to show up, might as well make Blue show up if we're going to force. It
would have
Chris
to be
Pratt
the two together,
plot. Right? Now, how about the Indominus Rex? What did you think of the Indominus Rex?
It was pants shittingly scary.
I thought it was cool.
It was a big baddie, and dude, I just wish there was more scenes with the camouflage when it was playing Predator. Dude, that was such a throwback to Predator, was it not?
And he did it, or she did it once and never again.
Never again. And it was it worked. Why not again? Nah, then it was just I'm playing around, killing you.
And a lot of people complain about its design. Oh, it's just a big raptor. But I liked its design. It's not just a big raptor. It was different enough, and I feel like if they went too crazy and out on a limb, it would just be corny and stupid. I like that it's kind of grounded and looks like it could have been a real dinosaur,
Yeah.
But still badass and crazy and weird. Now, do you want to see the Indominus Rex back again?
No, not really. I'm good.
Me either.
For it to be done with.
I agree. I feel like I said, the hybrid aspect has been done. Doing it again would be a little overkill. I would love to see it again if they do a comic series or an animated series. I'd take an excuse to bring it back in something like that, but not in another feature film. That's too much.
Yeah, they're done with that.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Why would they create another exact Indominus Rex?
I wasn't a huge fan of the CG. The raptors never looked real to me.
No,
they looked like cartoons.
There was one moment that was great when the dying brontosaur.
That was an
animatronic.
It was an apatosaur too.
Apatosaur? Sorry, whatever. Fuck you.
But
the brontosaur. They finally came out and said that they think it might actually have been a real dinosaur.
Now it became it's a real like classification now for a dinosaur, for a type of apatosaur. But
for a type of apatosaur.
But I don't know. Like it was great CG. Like they looked like great cartoon raptors. I just didn't buy that
they were in the real world.
Chris Pratt was there interacting with one. Did you know that they had mocap actors like Andy Serkis and shit?
Oh yeah,
portraying them instead of like in the first one they had based it on Phil Tippett's stop motion clay dinosaurs. He literally animated it all with clay in the first movie before they replaced it with CG. And in this one, they actually used motion capture, which is cool. I respect that. I'm glad that if it's going to be all CG, that they still took a creative way to do it. But it doesn't look as real as previous Jurassic Park movies have, you know?
Yeah.
Like you can reach out and touch the dinosaurs like they're real dinosaurs. When I see the Triceratops out in the field, they just look like CG Triceratops. When I see Chris Pratt holding the raptors back, they just look like CG raptors.
When he was riding along with the raptors, you could tell that was just CG raptors.
Yeah, totally.
Driving. But at least with the apatosaur, it was an animatronic. You actually felt for it. Like I was like touched.
Oh yeah, that was tough because I've been around had to be around, like
poor girl.
Dying dogs and stuff like that. Like they definitely nailed that, like comforting a dying or sick animal. Like that was definitely well done. And again, that's a testament to the power of animatronics because that was the closest we got to an animatronic.
That was the closest we did.
When the the I-Rex's mouth was down at the bottom of the van sniffing for Chris Pratt after he doused himself in gasoline. I think that was an animatronic, but very rarely do we see any actual animatronics in it. But again, I think all in all, better than what I could have expected, hoped to expect 5 years ago or even a year, even when we first started talking about Jurassic World on Fairpoint. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, this movie's going to suck.
Same here. Surpassed all the expectations I had for it. I didn't at first think it was going to be worth anything. As it got closer and closer, I'm like, okay, I'm really actually getting kind of interested in it. And then it was a great nostalgic fun. Great dinosaur action, great fight scene in the end, and it ended so suitably with the T-Rex claiming its ground on top of that helicopter pad and just
hell yeah,
perfect ending for that movie.
She's king of the island.
She sure the fuck is.
I tweeted at IDW Comics the other day and was like, so biggest opening weekend of all time. Feel like doing something with the Jurassic Park license yet? And I didn't get any response. But
nothing.
Yeah, I'm hoping, even though the IDW Jurassic Park comics were fucking god awful, I hope they do. They've got to capitalize on it, and I'll be happy with it even being awful, so long as they don't cross over. IDW is a fucking sucker for their crossover fanfic comics, and I can reconcile a lot of silly shit from the comics and the video games into Jurassic Park canon, but I can't reconcile for anthropomorphic turtles that know ninjutsu traveled to Isla Nublar, and you know what I mean? Yeah. I can't reconcile the Ghostbusters going to Jurassic Park or
right.
Optimus Prime fighting the Indominus
RoboCop.
Rex. Come on, just don't do that. The
Predator fights the Raptor.
If Jurassic Park had to cross over with something other than Clerks, as we established earlier, I wouldn't mind Indiana Jones. Another Spielberg movie. I think they could make that work as a comic.
They could. Or what about Power Rangers? Oh, wait. They tried that with the dinosaurs.
Shut up, Craig.
I don't know. I just looked down at my T-shirt.
My T-shirt plus your T-shirt equals...
crossover terribleness.
So, yeah, I mean, God, we could go on all night. There's so much more I could have to say. Actually...
I'm sated.
Real quick. Yeah, if they do, I want IDW, though. This is what I want to see, okay? And it's funny because this was my idea before I even knew about this, but apparently the person who wrote, his name's T-Rex Jones or something. He's an artist. And He did the Mad Max prequel comic that's getting like critical acclaim right now.
Oh, that comic is?
Yeah.
Okay.
The prequel to Fury Road.
Right.
And he was pitching, he said, for a year or two, I've been pitching a prequel to Jurassic World comic where
The park's going.
it links the Lost World and Jurassic Park 3 to Jurassic World, and it's about the raptors that were supposedly on the ship at the end of the Lost World, and they escape, and Muldoon still survived, and he's trying to hunt them down, and he runs into a younger version of Chris Pratt's character at one point, which sets up the seeds of him. This is what I want to see, okay? I want to see a prequel comic that is about they first they have to like clear up the island, clean up the island after the events of Jurassic Park, round up the dinosaurs.
Right, and that doesn't just include bombing the island.
Yeah, but like do construction, make the park happen. The park's been open since 2005. Like we could see so much and keep going, and that way we'd get to see Masrani again, even though he died. We'd get to see more of Lowery working in the park. We'd get to see Chris Pratt growing with these raptors as they're young, like helping raise and train them and develop his bond with them. I think that would be the best aspect for them to go forth with their comic, and it also prevents the muckiness that happens when you decide to continue the plot of the movie, knowing damn well there's going to be a sequel that's going to ignore whatever continuity you introduce in your comic. The people at Universal aren't going to care what IDW does in their comics.
Right.
So if they continue the story of Jurassic World, they're running the risk of the sequel totally negating their comic from canon. If they do a prequel, it's a lot less likely that there will be contradictions.
Then it'll be just allowed.
Yeah, exactly. So here's to it being the fucking biggest global opening of all time.
Star Wars 7.
Maybe. For now, it's the biggest.
You got a few months, buddy. I do believe Star Wars 7 might blow it out of the water.
Here's to getting the franchise treatment it fucking deserves. Let's get an animated series. Let's get more comics. Let's get more video games. I don't even care if they suck. Just don't throw aliens or Ninja Turtles in there and we're good.
Universal made a wise choice by allowing Colin Trevorrow take this movie.
Yep. And I guess because, he had
they
Steven
waited
Spielberg,
just the right amount of time to release it.
He said the studio really didn't have much involvement with it because that's the perks of having Steven Spielberg as your producer. They just kind of stay hands off with your projects and let you do you.
Like, here's the money. Let me know when we get twice as much back.
One note, could use more Jimmy Buffett.
No!
Fair enough. Hey, I'm glad we got to sit here and finally catch up and talk about Jurassic World.
Yeah, me too. Maybe sometime we'll do the same about Mad Max. Better movie than Jurassic World, sorry.
It probably is. Hey, Jurassic World, it's glossier, it's a sequel, but it's better than we could have expected. And ask me again in a year if it was better than The Lost World, and I'll tell you what I think.
Oh, then The Lost World?
Yes. Because I think The Lost
right.
World was a fantastic sequel. I really do. Still.
I still disagree. Definitely, I consider Jurassic World the second best movie of the series.
Fair enough.
Again.
Well, that was that. We hope you enjoyed our second episode of Fair Enough. If there's anything we missed or you just want some human contact, holler at us. We'll holler back. You can email us at fairpointpodcast@yahoo.com. Tweet us at fairpointpod. Find us on Facebook under Fairpoint Podcast. We don't have a Fair Enough Facebook. It seems kind of unnecessary. Or send carrier pigeons and psychic transmissions if you really want to get creative. We hope to hear from you. We hope you keep listening, and we hope you check out the main series if this is your introduction to us. Thanks for listening. Somebody will talk to you next time.